AOC gets defeated by a 74-year-old Jerry Connolly for the ranking Democratic member position on the House Oversight Committee, which means that all the time she sold out her integrity and the progressive movement over the last several years once again remains fruitless. And despite the fact that she has several of her companions on the House Oversight Committee to vote for her, and yet she still couldn't swing a few establishment Democrats her way, it also probably means all this hope for presidential aspirations needs to evaporate right now. So AOC, I have a question for you. What was it all for? You see, because I remember AOC lying about genocide, only to turn around and acknowledge it when it was politically convenient, only to turn around and lie about it again and protect Kamala, who, by the way, was a staunch supporter of genocide. I remember that despite all the shenanigans progressive and leftists went through in the 2020 primary, she still told us to endorse Joe Biden despite knowing that he was a segregationist, racist, sex pest. And she said we can push him left and get him to pass working class legislation and hold him accountable. And she did absolutely none of that after Joe Biden got elected. She supported funding for the Iron Dome. She supported sending US tax dollars to support neo-Nazis in Ukraine, despite her own colleagues like Ro Khanna knowing and acknowledging that those were neo-Nazis and that is who likely would be receiving the funding. She refused to acknowledge the corruption that happened during the presidential primary process to ensure Biden won without challenge. She even managed to throw Jill Stein in the Green Party and other leftists under the bus in order to protect the Democratic Party, and did so by lying about Jill Stein and her record of running in past elections, while simultaneously refusing to acknowledge that the Democratic Party was doing everything in its power to prevent any legitimate challenge to Joe Biden or Kamala Harris. And AOC doesn't even really have a resume to justify wanting to be the ranking member of the House Oversight Committee, because their job is to hold the federal government accountable, if you didn't know. And if you look on her website, she talks about how she's been on the House Oversight Committee since January 2023, and she talks about a bunch of stuff regarding Trump in the Trump administration. And that's about it. But we know regarding foreign policy, the federal government has undercut Congress in order to send money to Ukraine, has undercut Congress in order to send money to Israel. I mean, on the 16th of this month, Hunter Biden was scheduled for a sentencing hearing and Joe Biden pardoned him. During the election, the federal government was withholding Jill Stein and the Green Party's funds so that they couldn't compete with them. Or we could point to the most simple and obvious issue that AOC could have used her power to point out. Federal government was actively funding genocide. The federal government was actively funding war crimes. And because the federal government at the time was being ran by Joe Biden, AOC did nothing the entire time she was on the House Oversight Committee to challenge them. So like I said, she's not even qualified to be a ranking member of the House Oversight Committee because her only job is to hold the federal government accountable. They gave her plenty of opportunities over the last 2 years to do so, and she refused to do any of that. And how was she rewarded for her complicity? How was she rewarded for selling out the left? How was she rewarded for selling out her base? With absolutely nothing. With nothing. We have nothing to show for it. She has nothing to show for it. You told us, AOC, that if we do an inside-out strategy by working within the Democratic Party, that's what's best for the working class. You even criticized Jill Stein, the Green Party, for trying to work outside of the system and outside of the Democratic Party in order to achieve goals for the working class. How is that working out for you? This is particularly embarrassing for AOC because in my lifetime, I've seen a lot of sellouts in politics. Because I've seen plenty of people sell out for millions of dollars. But I've never seen anyone in politics sell their soul for free 99.